Welcome to video 3. So here's my question. How are we doing so far? Are you tracking your numbers? I trust you are. Did you develop your unique selling proposition? I know you did. You're working on your dialogues. You sound incredible and having great conversations. I know that you're also working on your unique value proposition. So you're really connecting with people and expressing who you are. So here's a couple questions I want to ask you before we launch into time and self-management. So where does your mindset let you down? Where's your mindset letting you down as you go through this journey? Another question to ask yourself, this is a great one, are your actions this last week or the last 10 days or whatever it's been, have your actions matched your goals? Are your actions in alignment with where you say you want to go? And if they're not, what do you need to do to get back into alignment? Ask yourself this, what's not working? What if I adjusted a little bit would make a dramatic change in my life? Right? Take the time to ask yourself some questions. Too often we put a lot of great content in our mind and we don't pause long enough to answer some of these great questions to make sure we're able to move forward in a powerful way. All right, so let's move into time and self-management. This is in my perception, this is one of the keys to success. And here's why I say that. I've worked with agents that are doing 600-700 transactions a year. And I've worked with other agents that are struggling to do 10 or 12, right? And what's interesting is the one thing that they do have in common is they have 24 hours in a day. They both have that. Neither one of them has more time than the other. And yet, oftentimes, the one that's struggling to do a handful of transactions a year blames their lack of success on the amount of time they have in a day. Whereas the agent that's doing 600, 700, 800 transactions a year rarely brings up the obstacle of time. See, they approach time differently. Right? So it's not, so many people say, if I had more time, I would be more successful. Well, if that was true, then people with more time would be more successful than people with less time. Yet the reality is we all have the same amount of time. Everyone is given 24 hours in a day. It's how we choose to approach that and the strategies we implement to make all the difference. So my intention is to give you some distinctions in the next little while that are going to phenomenally change the way you approach time, which are going to make a dramatic impact in the results you have and how you feel about going through this journey. It's going to open up your mind to the opportunity to get more done in less time, right? You can double your business. It doesn't mean you have to double your time. And that's not just something nice to say. It's true because we see people act it out all the time. So for the last decade, right, I've spent so much time and so much focus on this, on developing the strategies and the systems that the top producers use to get more done in less time. So let's dive into this. So the first thing that I want you to think about is, what is your job description? What's the most important things that you should be doing? A great question. I think that actually Tim Ferriss proposed years ago is he said, I asked myself if I could only work 6 hours a week, what would I do? So ask yourself that question. If you could only work, 6 hours a week in your business, what would be the most critical things for you to do that would make all the difference, that would enable you to continue to grow your business? See, too often we're just filling time, right? We go, I got 40 hours, so we fill it up. If you only had 6 hours to work in your business, what would you do? For most real estate agents, you would focus on lead generation, and you would focus on probably listing appointments, right? If you're a lender, you would focus probably most on getting great leads, right? Getting the right people coming your way so that you could close, right? If you're a home builder, you'd probably focus a lot of that on getting the bids, right? On giving bids to great people so that you could grow your company. Whatever it is, I want you to figure out what's your, it's like the Pareto principle, right? What's your 20%? What's the most important things you did, right? Or you could do to dramatically grow your business, and then ask yourself, did I spend most of my week focused on those things? Did I spend most of my week focused on the most important things? See, what's so true is the most important things do not always yell the loudest. Right? Not everything is given equal weight. One of the most dangerous things about a to-do list is most of us have a to-do list that's like just going on and on and on, right? And yet everything on a to-do list, when you cross something out, it feels as good when I cross something out that's not that important as it does something that is important, right? A to-do list can be very scary because you can feel good about crossing off a bunch of things that maybe aren't the most important things you need to do. Are you with me on this? So instead of having to get rid of a to-do list and start having a empowerment list, right? And when I sit down to do a quote unquote to-do list, I break it into 3 categories. I have a could do, a should do, and a must do. So I come up with my could do's, right? Here's all the things that you could do. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot, right? We could all be busy all the time, right? So I come up with this big could do list. Here's all the stuff that I could do. And then from that could do list, I bring that to my shoulds. And I go, here's the stuff that I really should do. It's more important. This is really the key stuff. And then from that should do list, I only allow myself to take 2 or 3 things to the must do list. And the must do is those things that are critical. If I don't get these things done, I'm out of alignment with my goal. If I don't get these things done, I'm not on track to hit my goal. And I'll tell you what, you're going to discover there's so many things on the could do list that aren't really that important. And then there's all these things on the should do list that are important, yet some of them aren't going to get done. And from there you go, what are the must do's? And if you want to end every day with enthusiasm, if you want to end every day feeling like you did your job, you're clear on what those must do's are, and you tackle those. So here's another thing that I want you to realize. The most important things usually don't really show up until it's too late. If you're not aware of them, you can go too long without getting them done, right? Because they don't yell and scream. What does yell and scream in our business, right? Somebody calls it, I need that 90% letter right now, right? Or I need that survey. That's the stuff that yells the loudest, and yet seldom the most important. So here's another key distinction, right? Multitasking. Oh my goodness. Multitasking is one of the biggest fallacies out there. Multitasking, somebody said multitasking is just the ability to mess up multiple things at one time, right? Most of us don't multitask well, right? And ask yourself, would you want your brain surgeon doing anything else at the same time he's doing brain surgery? No way, right? You want them doing one thing at a time. We know this, right? It's the same reason you turn the radio down when you're trying to find out where you're going. You get rid of all the distractions. You do one thing at a time. So they did a study years ago, and here's what they discovered. People that multitask do worse at their job than people that were on drugs. Are you with me? That's a big, big deal. So stop doing multiple things at once. Discover what are those must-dos and then do them. Here's another thing that takes our dreams. Another key distinction to have here is another thing that wrecks us is distractions. And I don't mean big, huge distractions. I mean all that little stuff. What happens when you're doing your job and you're in the zone and then your cell phone dings, right? We rush over, we grab our cell phone, we look it up, we go, oh, weather update, we're going to be okay, right? Ding, right? As soon as you hear a ding, it's like Pavlov's dog, right? We stop doing the most important things. We get distracted. We go check our email, check our phone, whatever. And now here's where we lose time. It's not so much the time that it took me looking at the phone. It's the time that I mentally disconnected from what I was doing, that I shifted there, that I got engaged, and then it's the time that it took me to get back re-engaged over here. They estimate that 26% of our workday is wasted in going back and forth between tasks. It's not so much how long it took to do that task, it's the back and forth time. So here's what I want you to get. If you really got committed to this and you did one thing at a time, the most important thing, one at a time, you would literally save 26% of your workday. That means you can literally work 4 days a week and get as much done as you're getting done in 5. Think about that over a month. Think about that over a year. Think about that over a lifetime. Just the power of doing one thing at a time. 26% of your life you would get back if you just did one thing at a time. Huge. All right. So another thing that I want you to realize is it's not so much about being 2 places at once as it is about being 1 place at once. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to say it again. It's not that you don't have enough time. It's that you don't know what you should be doing with your time. Here's what I mean by that. We all have time. Yet, are you doing the most important things? Ask yourself this. What would it look like if somebody followed me around my workday with a video camera and then played that video back to my family at the end of the day? If I was watching that video with my family at the end of the day, would I be proud of what I was doing, knowing that that was the most important stuff? Or would I be going, man, that was a distraction, that was a distraction, that was a distraction, that was a distraction? Right? And ask yourself, what am I being distracted by if I was going to watch that video and I have to explain to my family, look, I wasn't here hanging out with you. I was at work so I could be on Facebook. I was at work so I could do this and get distracted, right? Hold yourself accountable. Here's what I want to say about this. You are better at this than you think you are. We sell ourselves short. Okay, here's the point. Here's the proof. What are you like when you have 1 day left before you go on vacation? When you have one day left before you go on vacation, what do? The night before, it's like you're all of a sudden a time management ninja. You know what to do, instinctively you know what to do, right? You sit there and you go, I better make a list. I better make a list so I get the most important things done tomorrow. And you're going through that list and you are like a time management ninja, right? You're like, nope, nope, yep, no. You're crossing stuff off. You're clear on what's important, aren't you? You know exactly what you need to do the next day. You're a time management ninja. Then you wake up the next day, right? And you don't drag yourself out of bed. You go, I got one day left before vacation, right? And you go, here's the list. And you go for those things, don't you? You do the most important stuff. Somebody calls you and they go, oh, hey, I was wondering if you could have lunch. You go, no, right? I'm on a mission. I'm going on vacation tomorrow and I got to get this stuff done. You are incredible at time management when when the motivation is high enough. Are you with me? Do not sell yourself short on this. You're better at it than you think you are. So what's the key of all this? What drives you to make great decisions is getting clear on what's important to you. Getting clear on where you're going. Here's what I want you to imagine. I want you to imagine that when you know where you're going, you get to put your priorities in order, don't you? When you figure out what your purpose is, your priorities automatically reveal themselves. And when I get clear on my priorities, then it automatically leads to great production. So my question for you is, are you clear on your purpose? Do you know where you're going? Because here's the cool thing. When I get clear on where I'm going, if I go, man, by me nailing my business, by me making this much money, whatever it is, I'm enabling this kind of life, which means I'm going to be able to take care of my family in this way, which means I'm going to be able to make this kind of impact on the world. When I get clear on where I'm going, then I get to line up all the dominoes. And I get to line up all the dominoes. And here's what's cool. One domino will hit the next domino, and that domino will hit the next domino. And it creates momentum, doesn't it? What most people do is most people are unclear on where they're going. So here's what they do. They end up hitting all these random dominoes, which is exhausting. It's a lot of work to hit random dominoes. So they're tired. They feel like they're working, yet what they realize, oftentimes too late, what they realize is that they're hitting dominoes that aren't leading to another domino. And they just hit that domino and they go, oh, well, that was kind of a waste of time. And they hit that domino and they realize that they're not benefiting from putting the dominoes in a row. It's so powerful when I figure out where I'm going, I line up the dominoes, and then I only do things that are in alignment with my purpose. There are so many options out there, right? Especially for talented people like you. We're always asked to be on this board and help with this and all this other great. It's all great stuff. And yet, I want you to ask yourself, when you get clear on your purpose, every opportunity that comes into your life, you get to ask yourself this question: is this in alignment with my purpose or not? And if it's not, it's a simple no. Here's the key to this. And when you get this, is going to blow your mind. If this is the only thing you get from this video, it'll be powerful. Ask yourself, what have I said yes to? What have I said yes to? Because my yeses will determine everything else. So let me give you an example. One of the things I've said yes to is Sunday. I literally spend it all day with my family. I don't do anything else, right? That entire day, I literally lay on the floor, playing Lego, hanging out with my kids. I've said yes to that. And that's a non-negotiable yes in my life, which means any other opportunities that come to my life on a Sunday afternoon, I just say no to. And it's not a big struggle. It's not a big struggle because I've already said yes to it. Does that make sense? So if you're looking at your business, you go, look, I've said yes to lead generation, which means I got to spend this amount of time every day doing it. Here's when I'm going to do it. And if by doing this, I get to go where I want to go. This is my goal. Any other opportunity that comes in and is going to steal from that time is an automatic no. It's an automatic no because I'm clear on what my non-negotiable yeses are. Most people have no idea what their non-negotiable yeses are because they don't really know where they're going. They haven't really thought it through. And yet, when you get clear on those non-negotiable yeses, what's amazing is the no's are so easy at that point because I know what I've already said yes to. I know my purpose, and anything that's out of alignment with that is just an automatic no. Make sense? One of the things I want you to ask yourself is, what are my non-negotiable yeses? What have I said yes to? And by getting clear on my yeses, it'll automatically reveal my no's. One of my favorite things that was said years ago was, every yes has to be defended. There's 1,000 different places you could be. There's 1,000 different things you could do. Get clear on your yeses and then defend them. I have to defend my family time. I have to defend the time that I spent writing and I spent working on stuff. I got to defend that time. Get clear on your yeses. And you can only do that if you figure out where you're going. Does this make sense? I trust that this is lining up and this is really getting with you. Managing your time without setting your priorities is like shooting randomly at whatever is in front of you and calling that a target. It makes no sense at all. So You're getting clear. You're getting clear on your purpose. You're getting clear on your yeses, which are automatically revealing your nos. Now let's take this a next step. One of the things that's stealing your dreams is the inability to say no. So that will help. Another thing that's taking away from your dreams is not planning out your time. Right? A question that I ask my clients all the time is, did the day show up to you, or did you show up to the day? Each day, are you in reaction mode? Or are you proactive? Are you in going where you want to go, or are you just waiting to see what shows up? How do most people show up at the office? They show up at the office in the morning, they go, all right, what do I do? And they spend like 30, 40 minutes every single day figuring out what they need to do, especially as self-employed people, right? I want you to figure out what you want. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do this week. I'm going to ask you to be intentional. I'm going to ask you to write out, what is my perfect week? If I was going to hit my year goals, what would my perfect week need to look like, right? How many calls, what date night, time with the kids? I want you to write out your perfect schedule, not necessarily the one you have right now. Write out the one that you would love to have. This is fundamental, and yet so many people don't do it. Right? Most of you know that we should do this, and yet so many don't. So I want you to write out, what is your perfect week? And then ask yourself, is this in alignment with my goal? This is a great quote, you'll never hit your goal if it's sabotaged by your daily schedule. You'll never hit your goal if it's sabotaged by your daily schedule, by habits that aren't in alignment with your goal. You got to figure out, what does my perfect week look like? What are my non-negotiable yeses? Build that into your schedule and then start following that. It'll make all the difference in the world. So many people go, they go, I just need to follow my schedule. And I go, perfect. What does your schedule look like? And they go, I don't know. Figure out your perfect week. Then figure out your perfect day. And then ask yourself this: what would I need to do to make sure I can't self-sabotage? What would I need to do to make sure that I follow this schedule? I'll tell you what, when you know what you're doing, when you know what you need to do, and you do that one thing at such a high level, it's amazing the time that frees up, right? It's not about, right, being multiple places at once. It's about doing one thing at an incredible level. So here's what I want you to grasp is, I want you to nail this work piece so that then you can be present everywhere else in your life. I want you to nail work and be present there and play all in, so that then when you go home, you can be there. So ask yourself, what do I got to do at work? What do I got to do in those 7, 6, 7, 8 hours? That's the most important things. So at the end of the day, I can be proud of what I did, and I can go home and be present there, right? So here's a couple of hacks on that, a couple of important things. Planning, let me say one more quote on this. Planning your schedule, planning your perfect day, is literally bringing the future into the present. You can predict the future if I get clear. If I go, this is the schedule. If I followed the schedule every single day, it would automatically lead me here. Does that make sense? Okay, so let me give you some more. Here's a couple of things, and this is huge for especially us that give great customer service, that spend time with customers all the time. The biggest thing that we can do differently is set different expectations. Right? Too often, we don't set great expectations. I remember years ago, there was a guy that, some of my clients would call me late at night, right? And they'd call me late at night or early on a Sunday morning, whatever. And I would get so ticked off. And yet what I realized was, the expectation I was setting was, I'm available all the time. My value proposition was, I'm always available. I thought that's what I had to do. And yet what I realized was, I'm never going to have a big life if my schedule's at the whim of everybody else. I'm never going to have a big life that I get to choose if I'm victim to what everybody else's schedule, what they dictate, right? So start setting expectations, right? I would actually show my calendar to my clients oftentimes, and I do now with my coaching clients, right? And I go, hey, you'll notice that during these hours, here's what I'm working, here's what I'm doing. By the way, after 7 o'clock, you're not going to be able to get a hold of me. And the reason you're not going to be able to hold me is because I love you, and yet I love my kids more, right? And I'm going to spend time with them. And what's amazing is, once I set the expectation with my clients, they were more than happy to live within it. Right? They would call me late and they go, oh, you know what? So sorry. I noticed it's 7:01. I apologize. They begin to live. You teach people the way you want to live, and they will live up to that. And you've got to set the expectations. So ask yourself, what expectations have I unconsciously set? Some of us have unconsciously set the expectation that I'm available all the time, and that's why you should work with me. If that's your value proposition, let's change it. Okay, here we go. Another thing that I want you to understand is, set clear expectations. The second thing is, slow is steady and steady is fast. Do you get that? Slow is steady and steady is fast. It's the constant progression of consistency that out succeeds everybody else. It's not the flash in the pan, right? I keep reading Tortoise in the Hare, right? And the tortoise wins every single time because he got clear on constant, consistent action. What I want you to get clear on is what is the constant, consistent action you need to take that's going to automatically lead you to where you go. Right? Somebody said, no hurry, no pause. What they meant by that was they go, I don't rush, so I mess it up, yet I don't stop either. I continue to go. So what I realize is, as I look around and I watch really successful people, they have a rhythm to their life. They know what they're doing and they're intentional about it. Ask yourself this question: how intentional am I throughout my day? Am I just winging it? Is the day showing up to me, or am I really showing up to the day with intentionality, right? Because if I'm not showing up to the day with intentionality, things will just weave their way in. So I want you to ask yourself, what is your rhythm look like? And what I want you to do is I want you to start doing this because this is what successful people do. So I'm just going to give it to you, right? It's amazing. We don't have to go out and learn on our own. We can just follow in the path of them. Every successful person I know does this. They get up early. They get up early in the morning, which means that they go to bed early at night, right? So many people go, I'm tired in the morning, right? I can't get up that early. I go, yeah, of course you're tired if you get up at 5 when you went to bed at 2 o'clock, right? You're not tired if you went to bed at a good hour, right? Every successful person I know gets up early, so I'm just going to do it. So some of us need to sleep in the night before, which means we need to go to bed on time so that we can get up on time. So ask yourself, what do I got to do? So here's an incredible way to go to bed at night. How do most people go to bed at night? The last thing they do is they watch the news before they go to bed, which means they're pouring in negativity in their mind. The last thing they do is pour in the worst things that are happening in the world in their mind. Then they watch their local news, which is the worst things that have happened the closest to you, and they pour that in their mind. Then they wake up in the morning and they watch the news again, pouring even more negativity. I want you to learn what works. You got to pour great stuff in your mind. So I'm going to have you go to bed on time, right? Write down the most important things you need to do the next day so that when you wake up, you're ready to go. Have a rhythm for your morning. When you wake up at 5 or 6 o'clock, do you know why you're getting up, what you're going to do? One of my favorite books, right? Hal wrote this book. If you haven't read this book, Miracle Morning, you need to go out and buy this thing right now. Go get it. Read through this book. It's an easy read, and yet it's brilliant. What I've noticed is so many successful people, they're able to take things that are very complicated and bring them back down to simple so you can understand them. I love this book. And one of the things he talks about in this book is the morning routine. And he goes, you've got to have a successful morning routine. So many of us have a chaotic morning routine. Here's a successful one. So here's what he says. He goes, there's 6 things you should do every morning, right? You should spend a couple minutes in silence, a couple minutes meditating. What's going on, right? What's working? Just take a minute to breathe, right? Say some affirmations and do a visualization about where I'm going. It's so funny. People go, I don't believe in affirmations. They go, I don't believe in affirmations. I don't believe in affirmations. I don't believe in affirmations. It's an affirmation. We use affirmations whether we believe in them or not. We're saying the same things over and over and over in our mind. It's just, are they powerful? And then other people go, well, visualizing, why would I visualize a powerful future? That's weird. Tell you what, if you're not consciously visualizing a powerful future, you may be unconsciously visualizing a negative future. You're visualizing something, whether it's conscious or not. All right, the next thing, exercise. Get your body moving, right? If you get it's amazing how you feel after you get your body moving, right? Something that's in motion usually stays in motion. Something at rest, like a couch potato, usually stays a couch potato. Okay, all right, next one, read. Pour some great stuff in your mind. Right? Pour positivity, pour success into your mind to get you start right for the day. Last thing is journal, right? One of my favorite ways to journal is I use this. This is the best self journal. And what I love about this journal is it talks about in the morning, one of the first things you write down is 3 things you're grateful for. Then you write down what's my 2 or 3 big goals for the day. And then at the end of the day, you write down what are some of the lessons I learned, what were some of my wins, and what am I grateful for. It creates a pattern in my life. It creates habits that continue to guide me to where I'm going, habits of giving gratitude, habits of being clear on where I'm going. I want you to you're right, in the morning, you're going to go through your rhythm in the morning, right? You're going to do the 6 things that talk about in the Miracle Morning. Set yourself up for a powerful day. Then you're going to get to the office. Now, I want you to freaking know what you're going to do when you get there. So many people get to the office and they go, okay, I'm here. What do I do? I want you to know what you're doing. I want you to walk in the door with intentionality and purpose, knowing exactly what you need to do. You've got a rhythm. You got to stay in that rhythm of success, right? Your schedule, your daily habits are going to lead you to where you want to go. So what are those? Do you have those nailed down, right? Get to the office, do your lead generation, do your scripts, do whatever you got to do to get you where you want to go and be clear on what those are. Are you with me so far? Now, here's something that's interesting. One of the classes I'll probably teach one day is don't be an optimist. And I know that sounds super weird because I'm a super optimist. And yet, here's what I mean by that. We talk about time blocking and schedules and everything else. I want you to become aware of why, if you have a schedule already, what are some of the reasons it's not working? And one of the reasons that sometimes our schedule isn't working is either we're not following in the first place, or we're not realistic about how long things take. Right? Usually we put too many things in our day, which means we don't get to the most important things. So one of the great hacks, look for great hacks to get time back. One of the things that I read a guy does, and he told me about this. He said, for every half an hour meeting, I only schedule 20 minutes. He goes, because I'm going to spend 20 minutes in that meeting and then 10 minutes doing what we talked about in that meeting. For every hour meeting, I only schedule 45 minutes because I want 15 minutes right after that meeting to take action on whatever we talked about in that meeting. See, too often we schedule an hour meeting, right? And then we got this 15 minutes of stuff to do. Then we schedule another hour meeting. We got 15 minutes of stuff, and all that stuff adds up. And we start beating ourselves up for not getting stuff done, yet we didn't set ourselves up for success. Does that make sense? Look for where are you self-sabotaging in your schedule. Now, here's the big thing I'm going to ask you to do this week. Okay, this is big. And only the high achievers are going to do this, which is you. All right, here's what I want you to do. One day this week, I want you to write down every 15 minutes what you were doing the last 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes, I want you to write down for the last 15 minutes I was doing this. Just get a little pad with the numbers on it right next to you and write down. You will be blown away by how you're using time. You will begin to discover ways to get more time back in your life. Just by awareness in and of itself is transformational. So you're going to write your perfect week schedule. You're going to write your perfect day schedule. You're going to figure out what are the habits I need to instill to empower me to have a big life. And then you're going to begin to track your time so you know where your opportunities are. In any area of your life, if you want to get better, you start tracking. If you want time to get better, track it. If you want to get better with your money, you start tracking. If you want to get better with your weight, you start tracking. I'm going to ask you this week to track that so you get really clear on where you're going. The last thing I'm going to say on this is make sure your schedule is simple enough that you can actually execute on it. Make it simple enough so that you can actually follow it. Are you with me? Most successful people have schedules. Doesn't mean they're not full. Doesn't mean they're not working hard. It just means they're simple enough they can execute on it. Does this make sense? Here's the last thing I want you to think about. Before you watch the next video, I want you to ask yourself, what are one or two things that I don't need to be doing? I remember an amazing mentor of mine once said, he said, most people would be blown away if they became aware of all the things they don't need to do. All the things that may be good or they may be okay, yet aren't leading them. They're not in alignment with the succession of dominoes to their big purpose. That's why I want you to write down that 15 minutes at least one day and figure out what are the things I don't need to be doing? What are the things I don't need to be doing at all? And then what are the things I can begin to give away? What are the things I can begin to leverage out? One of the things I leverage out is taking care of my yard. I don't take care of my own yard. The reason is that would bite into the time I spend with my kids playing on the floor. So I leverage it out. Nail your job so you can create opportunities for other people. All right, take some action on this. This stuff is huge, and begin to collect ways to gain more time. Take control. You have the opportunity to nail this. On this whole concept of time blocking, there are so many different schools of thoughts, right? There's people that go, hey, you should time block in big chunks of like 3 hours, or just don't time block at all. And then there's other people that are like, hey, you should time block in like 5-minute increments, right? Every 5 minutes you should know what you're doing. So I think maybe neither one of them is 100% right. Yeah, I'll give you my theory on this, what I've seen really successful people do. And one of the things they do is they set up successful blocks of time, right? So they go, I'm going to give myself 2 hours to lead generate. And yet in that time, they chunk it down. They go, so this half an hour is going to be for this half an hour is going to be for this, and then at the end of this time, I stop this and I move on to the next thing. What's amazing is when you time block some of these activities, you will get done. So let me say it this way: if I have an hour to create a flyer, it'll take me an hour, right? It's just a miracle. And yet if I have 10 minutes to create a flyer, I can get the same thing done in 10 minutes, right? So ask yourself, am I allowing too much time for stuff? Am I not allowing enough time for stuff? Now, here's the reality. Most successful people I know, they time block a certain part of the day, and then they leave some opportunity for some of the stuff that just happens, right? So they nail the morning. They go, every morning from when I get up at 5 a.m. until 1 o'clock is time blocked out, right? I do my miracle morning stuff, then I do my lead generation, then I do my lead follow-up, and then I have lunch, or I do whatever I need to do. Then after 1 o'clock, I have some ideas of things I'm going to do. I'm either going to go on appointments or I'm going to work on my business, and then they have some flexibility there. Because I'll tell you what, if you consistently nail the morning, you nail the most important stuff in the morning, and you have it written out how you're going to do it. You nail that for an entire year. I don't care what you do in the afternoon. Wait, and let me give you a couple hacks on this. A couple hacks on this are let me say it this way: set it up so it works for you. In other words, when I'm doing my lead generation, I may do hardcore lead generation for 50 minutes, and then I may take a walk, right? To keep my energy up. One of the things I used to not do is I thought, because I'm a high performer, I'm not going to take lunch, right? I'm just going to power through. And what I realized was, by not taking a break, by not taking a moment to have lunch and breathe for a minute, my energy just crashed. By 3 in the afternoon, I was just toast. And by taking an intentional lunch, by taking a moment to go for a walk or take a breath, it was almost like I had a whole nother day. So as you go through this, start tracking your time so that you can discover what works best for you. Right. And oftentimes that's why I want you to track and write down what did I do, what's my perfect schedule, and what did I actually do, so you can have some awareness around this. Okay. So let's move on to this other piece I think is so critical. Leverage. Leverage is everything. I remember I read a book years ago, and it was talking about these 100 amazing businesses, interviewing all these amazing men and women, all these amazing people talking about their business. And they would go in and they would ask people, what made all the difference? What took your business from here to here? What caused exponential growth in your business? And almost every single time I can remember, they never mentioned a product. They always mentioned a person. They said, when I brought this person in and they took this off my plate, or when they took ownership of this, that made all the difference. It was a who that made all the difference. They brought someone into their world. They leveraged a piece of their mind out to get more time and to have more energy. So what I want you to ask yourself is, where are some opportunities in your business to leverage things out? It's funny. The other day I was in a class and the lady was talking about, we were talking about going to the grocery store and all this other stuff. And I asked her, I said, how much time does it take you, going to the grocery store every week? She goes, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. And I go, cool. How much time is it taking you to go to the grocery store every week? And we evaluated, right? For most of the people in the class, we were spending an hour and a half to 2 hours, going to the grocery store, picking stuff out, and then going home. So we're spending almost 8 to 9 hours to 10 hours a month going to the grocery store. What we discovered is that by most grocery stores, you can order your stuff online, pull up, they'll put it in, you can drive home. And we realized we could save 7, 8 hours a month just with a little preparation. You get 8 hours back. See, this is why it's so important that you work on your mindset, because it's not so much the time. Because here's the reality. If I gave most people an extra 2 hours a day, maybe something would change for a while, yet it wouldn't change the long run, because they're not thinking with effective time management. They're not thinking, how do I use time at a high level? So if I gave you more time, what would you do with it? Right? So with these groceries, right, you can order the groceries, you can pull up, you can pick up the groceries and go home without spending 2 hours at the store. So now here's what's interesting about that story. When we went through it, she realized she could save 8 hours a month by not going to the store and getting her own groceries. And yet for her, she said, you know what? I actually really enjoy that time. For me, that's kind of my time. That's my time away from clients. It's my time away from my family. It's just my time to have for me. I really enjoy that. So for her, it was like, okay, then go do it. You don't have to leverage that out if you want to do it, yet realize what it's costing you. It's costing you 8 hours. If you're willing to pay the price, I'm okay with it. What I'm not okay with is the lack of awareness. Does that make sense? So ask yourself, where else in my life can I leverage things out? See, too often, especially in this business, we think I'd have to hire someone full-time, or I'd have to pay somebody, $60,000 a year if I was going to get leverage in my life. There's all these other opportunities, right? Like getting your groceries, right, ready for you to pick up. Like my lawn, right? I don't mow my own lawn. I actually enjoy taking care of my lawn, and yet the reason I don't do it is because I would rather pay someone a little bit of money and spend that time with my kids, because they're not the age that can help me mow my lawn right now. So ask yourself, where are a couple places you can leverage out? And it doesn't necessarily mean you got to go hire somebody full time. Some of the things that I leverage out, I do leverage out a lot of my groceries, right? Usually we go and we just pick up our groceries, they're ready to go. I leverage out video editing. If I had to do all the editing, I would probably put out one video a month. It would take me an enormous amount of hours. So people go, how can you afford to pay someone to edit your videos? Because I nail my one thing. I nail what I'm supposed to do and let them do what they're supposed to do. People go, how do you afford to have someone, clean your house and take care of your dishes and all that other stuff? It's because I nail my one thing. so that I can help other people have a big life and do their one thing. There's people out there that their whole livelihood is cleaning homes. That's how they take care of their family. And guess what? How much time would it cost me to clean my house? I tell you what, I can make quadruple that, right? It's going to cost me to pay that person if I nail my one thing. So I nail my one thing. I lead generate. I do an incredible job my one thing so that I can create opportunities for other people. See, staying poor is selfish. Right? Staying poor is selfish, meaning if I don't get really good at my one thing and I'm willing to just do everything, it means I'm not able to create opportunities for other people. By me nailing my one thing, by me being incredible at what I'm supposed to do and realizing all the stuff I'm not supposed to do, I create opportunities for everybody else. I have one of the greatest assistants in the world. And I'll tell you what, she is awesome at doing all the stuff I am terrible at. Thank God for her every day because she does all those things that I'm not good at. It would be such a waste of my three assets. It would be such a waste of my time, energy, and money for me to do what she does. Because by her doing that, it allows me to do my one thing. Look for some opportunities to leverage your stuff out. Start with little things. Start with little things and just build over time. Value what you do. Value your time. Nail your one thing so you can create opportunities for other people, right? By me nailing this content, I get to create opportunities for other people to edit the content. I get to create other opportunities for my assistant and everybody else. I think I'm incredible at the one thing I'm supposed to be doing. And yet, I'll tell you what, the people that edit the videos, the people that do this so you can watch them, that's their one thing. That's what they're the best at. So they get to do that. By me doing my one thing, I allow them to do their one thing. Do you get that? Let me say this, if I attempted to edit all my own videos, first off, it would take away from my family. Second off, I would be stealing an opportunity from someone who's better at it and for someone who's passionate about it and for someone who's taking care of their family by doing their one thing. Are you with me? That's why I can say by staying poor, by playing small, I'm stealing opportunities from other people. Are you with me? I'm stealing opportunities for them to do their one thing, what they're supposed to be doing with their life. This is huge. So when you look at this time and self-management piece, here's what I want you to really grasp. This is about a mindset. This is about the questions you ask yourself. So instead of asking yourself, how do I get this done? One of the questions you might start asking yourself is, should I do this? One of the great things is people go, when should I hire an assistant, right? People ask me that all the time. And I go, one of the best ways you can start determining if you're ready to hire an assistant or not is start writing down a do not do list, right? Get a piece of paper, put it on your desk, and every time you find yourself doing something that either you hate to do or something that's not in your 20%, write it down. And then all of a sudden you will begin to create this list of all these amazing tasks that are the one thing for somebody else, and they are sure not your one thing. Are you with me? Start writing down a do not do list so that you can eventually create an opportunity for somebody else. If you fail to prepare, you're preparing to fail. Figure out what you want your life to look like. Figure out what you want your month to look like, your week to look like, your day to look like. Write it down. Be intentional. Be intentional the night before. Be intentional with how you wake up and know what you're going to do throughout the day. Begin to leverage things away. Get clear on what the most important things you need to do every day, right? The 3 rocks, right? Brian Tracy says, eat that frog, right? Do the most important stuff first, and then you can take care of everything else. One of my favorite things is there's never enough time to do everything. There's never enough time to do everything. Yet there's always enough time to do the most important things. When I find myself feeling anxious or I have anxiety right in my chest, usually that means I'm not clear on what I'm supposed to be doing, the most important thing I need to be doing in that moment. There's lots of options. Yet when I first read that quote, it was so helpful for me. It helped me realize that there's never enough time to do everything. There's 1,000 things we could do. There's always enough time to do the most important things. Figure out what those most important things are. Put them in your schedule so they exist, and then follow it all the way to where you choose to be. Keep it simple, execute, be your own hero.